Yay! Happy Sunday. Today is day two of building out an offer in public. So, I am currently working on building out my marketing membership. It's kind of crazy. Every time I decide to do something outside, things will be really quiet until I start talking. And then all of a sudden, there's just like all of this noise. But essentially, what I'm doing is building out a marketing membership for therapists online. So this is not a behind the scene offer. And then one day I'm just going to be like, boom, this is the thing. This is something that I am documenting so that you can see what goes into creating and marketing at the same time. I think a lot of people have the creating part down pat when it comes to their offers. There may be some things in there that can be cleaned up and make it really easy for them, but I know that people struggle with marketing in itself. So I wanted to show you how I do that and how I created that. So yesterday was just an introduction. I went live yesterday. And then today I made myself a checklist for all of the things that needed to get done. Here is my checklist. And this method that I do is like something that I teach in therapy, in my consult calls. I tell people, like, if you're having a hard time trying to figure out what needs to get done and you just feel like really all over the place, make yourself a small list. Four things to start max, and it's a daily list. What are the specific things that you need to get done each day? Absolutely. And nothing can go back onto that list until you officially cross it out. So, my list for today was creating the actual offer, pricing it, naming it, what am I promising, and then what are the resources that are going to be offered. So, you may have seen on my social media, in my stories, in the questions that I'm asking others, that I worked on naming it between yesterday and today. I came down to the Therapize Biz Labs, and I'm super excited about it because I actually no, it's not the Therapize Biz Labs. Ha! It is the Therapize Marketing Lab. And this is the funny thing about it. When I ask this question of other people, like, how do you go about naming your products and offers? Because I struggle with naming my products and offers. Multiple people have said they too also struggle with naming their products and offers. And it's so frustrating. And they like get to the point where they're just like, it's whatever. And sometimes they'll name it and they'll forget about it, which is something that I do too. Like, I name it, came with a name, did a whole system, and it's like, oh, what is it called again? Whatever. So this is a Therapize Marketing Labs. And the reason why I went with this is because I once had a membership several years ago, like back in 2021, 2022, and it was called the Therapize Biz Labs. And I really love that name because if you're a therapist, you know that sometimes folks often therapize things or over pathologize things. So I think it was really significant of what we do as clinicians, where we offer our therapy services or we therapize other people. And at the time, it was about specifically therapist biz. But right now, I talk a lot about marketing and creating more visibility. So this is the Therapize Marketing Labs. And lab is supposed to represent the work that we're going to be doing, which I'm super excited about. So the name is done. The offer in itself is a monthly membership meant to, I've got this all written down. Another thing, like when I'm creating out my stuff, I will tell you that I just create Google Docs on top of Google Docs on top of Google Docs. And I love the Google Docs system too because you can like do so much with it. It's got the tabs and all of that. So I'll create something, I use my little notepads, and then I use the Google Docs in itself to kind of put together the full word roadmap or the full like worksheet about like where am I going. This makes the offer so much easier. And can I share my screen? Oh, I can share my screen. So I will share the screen so that you can see it. So boom, here is the documentation sprint, and this is what it is meant to look like. So you can see this is what we're doing right now, and then here is the part where the marketing lab is created. And so this is what it's all about, what I want, what my mission is, and then here is like the stuff that people will be getting. So every month there's going to be a monthly video, and we're going to be talking about the marketing labs. It's going to be like a 10 to 15-minute video, and then there are several live sessions, and there is what's going to happen that month. So you're going to get that completed marketing asset, the next step, greater visibility, a new opportunity for referrals, more confidence in your marketing, which is a big deal. And for me, each month I wanted to focus on one marketing priority that will create the greatest impact on your practice. So you're going to have a roadmap of topics that I want to cover, and I've already created a bunch. But my favorite part about this, taking this off the presentation, my favorite part about this is that it is really fluid. So I wanted to make sure that even though I had an idea of where I wanted to go, when I have a bunch of members in it and they're like, this thing has really been bothering me and I really want to focus on this, we have the opportunity to be like, okay, let's bypass building referrals this month and let's focus on, your content. So it gives space for having an idea, but not actually having to stick to it, because the whole purpose of a lab is to experiment in it. So this is the place where you come and experiment on your marketing. You have an idea of where you want to go. You make that hypothesis, and we put things to the test as we build it out. And at the end of the month, you walk away with a clear asset and a clear strategy that makes your marketing and visibility stronger. The name of the game for me is balance. The more balance that I create in my life, the easier my business is. So I want for clinicians to create balance. One of the things that I saw when I put this out yesterday, I got a couple of different feedback. So like on on LinkedIn, I had posted something a couple of days ago, and someone posted a comment in disagreement, which is fine. We're allowed to disagree with, but the disagreement is like the standard disagreement that people say when they talk about therapists. I don't see other professionals doing this. No one, engineers don't do this. Doctors don't do this. Blah, 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 blah. And I say, yeah, but we're talking about male-centered or male-dominated professions who are reimbursed appropriately for their service. So no, they may not be necessarily considering doing something else with their expertise, although I would argue that doctors actually do all the time multiple things with their expertise as medical providers. Doctors too are speakers. Doctors too are actively on social media. We do actively see that. Doctors too write books. So they do and can do multiple things with their transferable skills that they have. In the Great Resignation, there was a point in time where we saw tech people, we saw engineers and those kinds of things do multiple things. They were working multiple jobs. So this is not something that is unheard of in the professional field. And I think that's really important to take into consideration. And another reason why I'm building out this marketing membership is that a lot of how we market is based off of how we feel about ourselves and about our career, and based off of the things that we've been taught to perform when it comes to our career. I had another comment on my last live video, and the comment said something essentially that, this is a field where we're supposed to be selfless, or we were taught to be selfless. And, no one got into the therapy field to market, right? We don't want to be marketers. And the thing about it is, any small business person who is a solopreneur, they are actively marketing, because if you own a private practice, you are a business owner, and it may start off as a small business. And this is a part of owning a small business. You're not just a therapist when you own a private practice, you are a business owner as well. And when you're a business owner, there is multiple things that have to go in it. You not only have to think about the work that you're doing with your clients, you also have to think about the work that your business needs in order to stay afloat, in order to be sustainable, in order to provide financial security to yourself. So when you're a business owner, you can't just ignore marketing because it's not something that you were taught to do, or because it's not something that you thought about doing. I always thought about being a business owner. When I was in school, I knew that I wanted to have a private practice. That is exactly how I imagined my work. It's just that no one formally taught us, like, oh, you're going to have to market. And as a therapist, there's already things built in there for us to do. As a clinician, when I came out of the field, Psychology Today was there. There was plenty of directories available for me to put my name on. And that is how I started out my private practice. Put my name in a couple of directories, and I was able to fill a caseload very quickly. But then that stopped working. And when that stops working and you own a business, you have to figure out how to make things work continuously. Not only that, I've been a therapist for 13 plus years now, and I love the work that I do. However, I get bored just doing one thing. I'm a highly creative person, highly innovative person. So for me, I don't want to just do therapy. For me, I like speaking and teaching and consulting and being on social media. I like all of those things. Those work really well for me. So it's not just all I want to do is be a therapist. For me and for the people that I work with, they want more. It's not just this is the thing that sustains me as far as satisfaction is concerned. Satisfaction doesn't pay my bills. And I don't want to offset that to the clients that I work with, because they too are living in this society that I am living in. And they too are experiencing very similar struggles that I struggle with. So it's a balance, right? We create balance in our practice, and we do that through the marketing work that we do. I think that the purpose, the thing that drives me when it comes to creating this membership, is that I want for us to actually have balance. And part of that is giving up the mindsets that we're only in this for the satisfaction. If you are, that's wonderful, but then you don't need to be in the marketing thing because you have everything that you need. You already have the balance. But for those of us who want to work away with visibility, who want to work away with better balance, who want to actively have regular referrals, consistent referrals to your practice, you don't want to have to think about next year's summer slump, right? You've already got the things in place to help you coast through the summer. You want to be able to have another offer on top of the work that you do, so that you can have less time maybe in therapy, or you can have more in income coming in without offsetting that into your private practice prices. This membership is for you. So I'm super excited about that. So it's up, by the way. I can show you in the school. I'm super excited. I'll actually drop the invite to my school itself. The school is called Therapist Thrive with Shauna, and there is the free membership, and there's also the premium membership. The premium membership will start on next Friday, July 3rd. So it is up, it is running, it is ready to go. So you can just go ahead and click the link and get access to that school and sign up that way. And the regular school itself, the free version of the school, also has pretty good information in it as well. I post in there fairly regularly, and I'll continue to post in there. This lab work is just going to be deeper work. So you get those group sessions with me as we work through different assets for you as a clinician. So I talked about naming it, creating the offer in itself, what is in it. So The creation is the monthly membership. And essentially, what we are doing is taking on a theme for that month where you will build out a marketing aspect. You will have a clear next step of what to do in your practice work. You'll have greater visibility. You'll have a new opportunity for referrals, inquiries, and income. And then you will also leave with more confidence in your marketing each month. So even if you join and you're there for 1 month, or you continue on for multiple months, then you'll walk away each month with a new asset, new confidence, and greater visibility, which was the overall goal. I'm also excited because I have some of my premium courses added back into that membership. The courses include my content bank is in there, but I actually have updated my content bank, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So you have like access to the advanced content bank. You'll have access to the ultimate referral kit. You will have access to the clear client dashboard, which right now the only way you can get the clear client dashboard is through my clear client system. So you'll get the clear client dashboard after you've spent 3 months in the lab, and it's really cool. So I'm super excited about sharing that. Other things, selling seasons, building a connected side hustle as a therapist. These are all assets that I had built before. It was in my Thinkific Academy, and I just brought those right over because I don't post to Thinkific anymore. Leveraging your skills into a successful side hustle, the side hustle creation pack. So there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm super excited about it. But like those are just like bonuses in comparison to the monthly work that we'll do. You'll have a monthly Q&A session. We'll have a monthly live implementation session where we're kind of getting down through the experiment work, which is my favorite part. Like we're really conducting this like a lab. Okay, so I've got the naming, the pricing, you've got the promise of what we'll be doing, and then I just told you about the resources. So this feels good. I'm going to post more so you can see what the resources look like in my post later on today. And yeah, I'm really happy about what this is going on. So if you're someone out there who is trying to build out an offer, I want you to kind of go back through and see what have you done so far, and does it match what I'm talking about here? The naming is not as big as what the offer is. I saw a comment the other day that was about like building an offer is like, it still has to get a good ROI and people are not buying offers. And I challenge that because this year myself, I've bought quite a bit of offers, quite a bit of things. And I bought them because they were really concrete, and they were able to tell me exactly what I was going to get from it. I think the issue for a lot of therapists is that, yeah, we don't know how to tell people exactly what you're going to walk away from in what feels like a tangible way. So a lot of times, when therapists are talking about their work, they're like, oh, you're going to feel so much better. And for some people, feeling so much better could be as simple as buying a pair of shoes or buying a new bag or buying something in general that helps them feel better. For some people, reading a book helps them feel good, right? So you don't need a therapist for that. But if you were a clinician and you were able to explain to your clients that you help them work through a problem so that they can apply those skills to other issues that they have, as well as finally feel the confidence to approach different issues in their lives, that looks a little bit different, right? And now they can kind of see what they're going to get out of that and like actually experience that. A lot of times we don't know how to make concrete or tangible ROIs because our work is a lot about feelings. Um, and so when you learn how to show somebody like what that feeling is or how they may experience that feeling, or when you're able to show someone that it's not just the woo woo aspect, that they can actually walk away with something tangible, then that is very different. It's the same thing with workshops. It's the same thing with anything, webinars, anything that you're putting out there. I think also the big thing is that client therapists tend to be very hush hush. And so because they're so hush hush, you don't actively see them. You don't actively know what they're talking about. It makes it a lot harder to create that like no trust factor, and people still do need that. It was a lot easier to develop that like no trust back in 2020 because everybody was home and everybody had the time to, and everybody had the resources to actively be able to engage in anything. But during that time, there were a lot of people that were buying stuff and they never took those courses either. So the thing is, now, today, people are a lot more sure about the decisions that they're making when it comes to the purchases that they're making. And they are a lot more restrictive because there isn't a lot to go around. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they are not engaging in those services or they are not buying those services, but they need a way to sample and to make sure that this is the decision that they get. And like I've said, I've taken plenty of things over the past 3 years that I always get a ROI or a return of investment on. And that is because I had opportunities to sample that person. I enjoyed what they were saying was going to be the outcome, and they created great evidence around what it was that they were offering. It's the same thing here. So right now you're seeing the background of that. You're seeing me create it. You're seeing me trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? Or what is it that I want to offer? I also had to balance the idea of, do I have the time and the space for this offer? Do I have the time to do hour sessions with a group so that they can get to where they need? Do I have the time to build additional assets for this? A lot of that was no. So the assets that you see are carried over. They're still great assets. They're still amazing assets. But I didn't want to build a bunch of new things. I didn't want to spend a lot of time building a bunch of new things. I would prefer to continue to expand upon the concepts that have already been taught, and still share something that's completely valuable. And the other thing is, like, a lot of times clinicians are like, I don't have the time for marketing, right? And that's that balance again. So I made sure that there was space enough for us to expand those skills, as well as space to make it easy to engage in it, right? An hour a week every 2 weeks is pretty good. Um, so that if we can find those 2 hours out of your whole month to build out a marketing asset every month, that's still going to be so much more beneficial to you as a clinician than it would if you weren't putting that time aside at all. One. And, even if we weren't putting that time aside and you still weren't marketing, then you would still end up in the same exact place, right? So this is a pathway with very little time built in to accommodate for schedules, accommodate for what we need, and then build off from there. The last thing was the pricing thing. And again, I think about this a lot because I think that as a clinician, we think so much about funds, we think about money, and clinicians are very interesting because a lot of clinicians, they're afraid to raise prices. They're afraid to even have a price that would work well for them because they are assuming that their clients can't afford it. They are afraid to build any assets because, again, it's a worry that people wouldn't be able to afford it. And so, a lot of what I talk about when I share with clinicians is that it's important to know and understand your audience, know and understand hesitations around that, but also recognize that we can't count what's in their pockets. Only they can decide. And it's up to us to give them enough information to make those decisions. So when it came to pricing this membership, I really thought about the other offers that I have. I thought about what it is that clinicians need, and I thought about pricing the value of my time. So the membership is priced at $47. And I really, really thought about this because sometimes when I price things, I'm like, is it enough to do what I want it to do? And is it valuable enough for clinicians to get what they need out of it, as well as is it an enticing number? And what I realized for a lot of people is we don't know what enticing numbers look like. So sometimes we'll put something and we'll make it cheaper, and they actually it needs to be higher because people also put value to something that has a price to it as well. So it's up, it's available. Y'all go ahead and check it out. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing more behind the scenes throughout the day, and we're just going to take it from there. I hope everybody has had a good Sunday. Let me know what you think so far about what I have down. And if you have any questions about this process, even pricing, we can ask me in the comments. Ooh, one more thing that I want to share. As a clinician, I actually have a very specific pricing system about how to price your clinical services. And I actually believe, let me look, I'm pretty sure that pricing system is here in the Building Successful Private Practice, which is actually free. It's in my therapist therapist Shauna. So if you're like, I don't know, I got to go back and make sure, but I'm pretty sure it's in there. So if you're like, I have no idea how to even price my therapy services, you need to join the school just to get access to that. And like I said, it's free in the school. Okay, so I've covered everything. I created the offer. I've got the pricing down, I've got the naming, I've shared the promise and the resourcing. The next part, which is the biggest part, is going to be the active marketing behind it. So I will be back live tomorrow to share what that looks like with you all. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.